that would be great if I'm not leaving it too short. And I don't know what
Hi. Hi. Hey, good. How are you?
you want a bag?
No, thanks. I was thinking about it, but no, thank you. Yeah, it's good.
Is yours?
That's his.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The chocolate bars look pretty good, though.
Okay, 99 cents, can't go wrong.
Yeah. No, I'm kind of thinking about it. Yeah, so that's it, and no air miles, so debit. Thanks very much. I'll enjoy my wine gums. Thank you. Good day. This way. What's funny is I saw some. I have some French fries at home, and I saw a ketchup bottle just sitting right there. Like, you need some ketchup? And I said, oh, thanks. Trying to keep them the northern region. There. Nice crack. You're quite interested in that. That's good. That big shows your clearance. He's quite curious as to what's happening. Yesterday I had a pretty good day. The evil kind of came up. It's better in my house, but a little evil came up around me, if only just as a tendency on the way home. I have a little wand in my backpack, and I've got a stick further down the road. Yeah, so got a little cold yesterday, but it's going to be a nice sunny day today, so that's from the evil tendency. I learned a few things, but when I hang out with people who live in their cars and homeless people, I mean, just like literally stand and listen to them and then be approached by more of them. So it's all about who you know, right? And that's draining. But I got to watch something really interesting. This one homeless guy seemed to turn around and need to confer with himself with a being he called the Father, or his Heavenly Father or something. He's someone who needs to talk to him privately while he's talking to other people. And I've never found that talking to a Heavenly Father or Heavenly Mother is something you do when other people are watching, unless you're making a YouTube video, of course. But even then, it's just interesting. I don't really think he was talking to anybody. I think it's a routine that he goes into. Basically, you got quite the routine, right? You're a faith healer, hey? Did you see that kind of stuff on TV? Is that why? Or You heard about people talking to their father, and that's what you're doing? Do you have any real connection with anything decent? So I had one good bowel movement today, and one good bowel movement, and I feel like another one is on the works. And we're gonna see if we can find our Raven staff at Sushi Ichi, where I left it yesterday, which I think was a beautiful place to leave the staff. And the staff just said, "Come on, come with me." And now it's like, if I had taken the staff all the way home, I probably wouldn't have brought it back. So it's kind of neat. But I learned that this one guy I know who lives in his car is writing an amazing book. So I'm interested to hear more about that in the future. And he said, "Oh, do you want to go to..." He said, "I'd really like to go to Vancouver." And I said, "Hey, I'll go on the trail with you sometime." He said, "Oh, I can't afford it." I said, "Oh, I'll pay for it. I'll pay for lunch, everything. It'd be nice to have some company." And I thought to myself afterwards, the guy's a smart dude, but he's not the greatest company in the world. He just talks incessantly. I think because he senses or imagines that I'm better than him in some way. So he's the one that's putting that energy into it. It's really quite warm. There's Sushi Ichi. My mom is doing well. I guess I felt a little nervy. I feel like the energy was off last night a little bit earlier in the day, but okay, I didn't get quite the sleep or quite the bath that I wanted. But that happens, so it's like, we'll be on top of that today. I can almost feel it in me as it's like sitting around for a couple hours listening to homeless people banter. It's not the best idea at the end of the day. I got cold, right? Just sitting there in the cold, just like listening to their crazy talk. And there's the one guy that I know lives in his car, he's actually making sense. The other guy is just, he's in a fugue, he's in a portrayal, he's whatever, too many drugs. But also he's just behaving strangely. He's not able to really, he's not grounded at all. So we crossed to Sushi Ichi. Wow, I saw a star in that tree. Beautiful, like celestial star. So there's positive influences. I feel like it's such a beautiful autumn. And then I thought, well, if I can't handle an extra hour sitting around in the cold on the ocean side with a couple of homeless people, I mean, what can I do? I had a beautiful day yesterday. My mom is good. And she's healthier. Give her a couple days to relax. We've got to find some place to live. But that'll be the easy part after the last few months. Moving will be a relief. Oh man. Let's go see if my stick is here. I think it is. Yep, there it is. I'm just gonna take my sweater off. And these beautiful stones. Look at this stonework. Lovely. Plus, I want some more wine gums. They're fucking addictive. Oh. Things you don't want to do without oil. These wine gums are amazing. Wow. That's the best thing I've tasted in ages. My dad likes wine gums. That's kind of why I eat them. So CG. I'm doing a lot of chemtrails today. A lot of chemtrails. Will always love you. And lime. Look at ribbon that way. to and fro. Meandering this way and that. And I always love you. I do. God. This wine comes amazing. Listen to those birdies. Yeah, it's almost like when things get good, I think they're gonna go bad. I got those cards today. 3 swords. It's I sometimes associate the police, and there was 3 police cars outside the house. Or not the house, the building, doing whatever. I'm like, whoa. Because I consider them predators, right? They don't do anything good. I mean, I would pay the police to stop hurting people, to stop harassing people. I'm not sure what that is. If you have a really good mind, but you look a certain way, or just male, people can hurt you.
NimbleDigital.com. Music with style.
Hey. Thank you. Thanks. Very good. Good deal. Thanks.
Good morning.
Yeah. A little rough start, but not too bad. Didn't sleep as well as I like.
No?
But I've got a belly full of wine gums. What's that?
Didn't get to sleep in?
Yeah. I've got a finely tuned regimen, and if I go off track, yeah, you know what I mean? You don't get to bed when you want to. Yeah. Have a very good night. Good day, sorry. Thank you. Great. That's lovely. When you're talking to the 19, 20-year-old cute native girl, and the not so cute middle-aged woman is there. And you're just like, oh, that's probably bad. Oh, my goodness. Da da. Do 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 do. Ba ba ba. Dee dee dee. Raven stick. I keep leaving you everywhere. A very attractive woman. Just saw her neck and the side of her cheek, and I was just like, oh my goodness. These are the parts of the body that people write poems to. Your beautiful brown skin is like the copper in the moon. Your translucent thighs wrap around my mind as I begin to dine upon thy juicy nepenthe. Okay, well, good reviews of your work. Yes. But it's okay. Our interactions are healthier for me, and I get aroused sometimes. I'm just like, oh, it's such a beautiful girl. And just as long as it's polite, it's fine. I prefer if there's somebody else around, actually. So you're not like, hey, show me your tits. It's like, okay. Actually is a sensitive, beautiful being in that woman. It just really is. It's so nice to see such a warm, beautiful young lady. That I should have a positive influence upon her life. I saw the hog again yesterday. Something about her, I think. We might have a connection in the future, I don't know. We might have a connection in the future of our days. I mean, I'm 50 years old. I might as well have a connection to somebody. Right? It's not meant to be a romantic one, not with women that age, but it'd be nice to, you know what I mean? Like, of course it would be nice. It would be beautiful. It would be amazing. But it'd be wrong. And a man learns to make those decisions while masturbating. No, even nature, it's like, nope. But, anyway, yeah, I'd like to have a connection with her or her people, whatever. Hang out. But yeah, there's something. I've seen her and the hawk. I associate her with the hawk a little bit. I don't know why. It's kind of hawkish. A hawk lady or something. Maybe she's a hawker. And I said, yeah. She said, how you doing? How's your day going? And I said, oh, it's a little rough maybe. I feel good. It's just that some days I just... But it's true. I mean, I introduced an anomalous event in my life, which was 2 hours stopping near my home in the cold listening to homeless people talk. And it wasn't just that bad, but I mean, it got bad when 2 homeless people approached this guy, Jerry. And it's like, I never do 3 ways with these people. Jerry's associates are not people that I need to talk to. He'll talk to anybody, right? He'll talk to anybody. And he'll tell them the same thing he tells me. Which is really kind of hurts your pride a little bit. But the guy's obviously crazy, and I mean the other person anyway. If I can't do anything for someone, what's the point? Well, that's nice. Sun. Beautiful chemtrails, which means there's probably weather coming. It's just nice though. Healthy. I know it sounds arrogant, but like every woman there wants to talk to me. Not just me, just like any male. That seems nice. They want to have that conversation. I would feel the same way. You know? Anyway, let's sanctify the day and got everything. But I feel good because I wasn't going to go to that gas station anymore because of her and my energy, making sexual energy, essentially. And I was getting a boner after I would talk to her. It's like, and then I just didn't go there for 2 or 3 days. And then I went in one day and she was playing some nice native music. And I thought, okay, this is better. It's like, oh, you know, I got to be horny somewhere else, not here, you know. Which men sometimes they take on too much. Like it's not just you. I mean, they're putting on hormones. You're more responsible because you're in a dominant position. Not necessarily. I mean, she might want to dominate me. No, she's a perfectly nice human being. It's just she happens to be an attractive female. So. Someone's taking the hydrangea out. Little feet in there. Hey, let's see your little feet steps. La da da. Hi. Hello. Hi. Hey there. Bit of a timid man. Yeah, it's just it. Like, I've been encountering people who are a little weird ever since late last day, and it's just like, I don't know if the sun or the autumn is bringing them out. I don't want to talk to homeless people. You know, it's one of the things I don't like talking about Jerry. I don't want to talk to people that he talks to. It's like, there's nothing there. You're just literally, the time drags on like eternity. You're like, okay. You know, 1,000 years has gone by. And then I talk to Yahweh. Wait a second. Oh, I'm going to take that away from you now. Take that away from you. Yeah, you got a good heart. Yeah, tell me about that. Tell me about that. You know, this guy, who's like a recovering crackhead of some kind, is trying to be Jerry's counselor. And it's just an example of like counselors, right? You know, Jesus is like the counselor. Counselors are, I said to my mom, I said, Jerry's a good counselor. Like, he's good for homeless people because, you know, counselors should be really fucked up in the head, you know, fucked up enough to talk to homeless people, you know. and listen to them and then tell them what they need to hear, which is what he can do. But I have no right to judge in the sense that I just think it's just the situation you're in sometimes. Oh no, somebody hit something along here. Is it a duck or a rabbit? I'll let this truck go by. Just keep going. There's like a rabbit there. Got hit. He's dead. Now that guy's driving on the far edge of the road, which is interesting. Well, maybe because he thinks cars are good. This area can be really nice, but even Catherine, who's a woman that I know here, I see her sometimes with her dogs, and she's a little deceptive. She has a deceptive energy, which I listen to such things. Even if they're a really nice person, I'll still listen to that. I know that because all that's required for deception is to not withdraw one's consent to be lied to by any number of things, for instance. And you have to withdraw your consent to be abused, essentially, by anyone. But because in many cases people will abuse you because it's almost as if you've given them permission to do so, just by letting them into your home, for instance. So for a lot of crazy women, permission to hurt you comes from just talking to them, looking at them, right? I've met women where literally feeling their angry black stare on your back and looking at them for a second is enough to provoke them to sexually assault you. Do you understand? These are the kind of people we're talking about. And these are upper middle class women, with money, right? And they're crazy. And they're walking around. They should be in prison, but there aren't enough prisons for all the people that should be in them. And a lot of people in them shouldn't be there to begin with. So we can trade off a little bit. But 3 Jack, Queen, and King of Swords. Police, always coming out of my house with my mom and seeing 3 police cars there parked here and there. I thought, what the fuck? It's got to be to do with homeless people. And there's a bylaw officer out there. And maybe there's like an urban pulse to the homeless. Maybe there was just something in the air last night. I just felt like something was stirring. I think there's been a full moon. It's the end of September. It's getting around check time probably. And let's see, what day is it today? Maybe it's been check time, I don't know, for welfare recipients. I think you just want to think of positive things. I've gone through a lot of shock, and why do you want to think of anything negative? You don't absolutely have to. It's just negative. I see the police as negative beings, right? They are. The legal system is excessive yin. It's a negative system. Religions are negative system. The monetary system is a negative system. Okay? Christianity is a negative system. It's not even because they're all evil, although you could argue that. They're completely negative. Right? The financial system is negative. Your car is a negative entity. Right? A car is a negative being. The sun is a positive being. Right? I'd rather be in the sun than in a car. Take me inside the sun anytime. Right? So, my body's healthy. Yeah, I just got a touch too cold yesterday. I didn't get home quickly enough. I got a nice hot bath, so that was something. I had a nice hot shower, so I'm clean. But it's nice to have established that I don't have to go there every day. If things get a little too flirtatious, I'll just stop going there. And because that was a problem. You know, I don't mind getting horny and stuff. I'd rather get horny for something that's like, I think precisely because I think I see her as vulnerable. You know? It's just too bad that she has a beautiful body. You know? Like to see her in a pack of Cheetos. I mean, I've never seen a woman naked. You know, I just like, you know, not a woman who wants to be naked around me and, you know, and we have established some kind of decent relationship. Just don't see that that's ever going to happen. But it's nice. And that's why, like, if I have a relationship with young women, for instance, I'd rather it be courteous. You know, sure, masturbate now and then. It's bound to happen. You think every guy that coaches a teenage girls softball team or volleyball team doesn't masturbate when they go home sometimes? With all the fucking hormones and crushes and shit. Projections. You know? Jesus Christ. Think about it like if a bunch of 16-year-old boys had a hot soccer coach. You think they're never going to think about fucking him? Fucking her? You think they're never going to be like, wow, you ever think about fucking the coach? Yeah. You think that woman's not going to feel that energy? Right? Right? Look at on every, you know, hormones are hormones, right? You know, so. I like that she likes seeing me. That's good. Ooh. Everything should protect you. The fact that I look a bit homeless protects me. Eventually, you know, people will just ignore you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I just heard some people laughing when they go home by the burger joint. It just sounded evil. I hate the sound of evil white people laughter. Because you know whatever it is. And you get a smell of the people. And they're like little hyenas in a Disney movie. Like, ah. And we have these characterizations, but it's like, and they're fat, of course. And then they're going to be dead. Because fat people die earlier. Yeah. So, I got my mom to stay away from my dad. The only thing I've ever done from my parents, really, tangibly, in their overall critical health outcomes, is got them to not talk to each other. Really, I mean, just like, and you see, like, the way my mom hates my dad, like, why would you ever talk to someone you hate that much? Oh, well, he calls me, man. Why? Stop talking to him. You hate his guts. Oh, well, he says that, you know, we're parents and we have to talk. Okay, Mom. You can see my dad is actually, in some sense, trying to establish rational dialogue with her, and she can't do it. And she just sees him as a violent person. You're trying to establish rational dialogue with her. But she keeps talking to him. It's absolutely schizo. It's like, if you don't agree with him and you don't want to do what he asks, why don't you tell him? You know? And ultimately it's because she just doesn't have those kinds of principled ways of thinking that a man does. Right? Unfortunately. And we have to find a way in this very negative world. Negative because it's kept negative. And negative because the things that you think are positive are ruling over the negative. Okay? They're false sons, really. False celebrities. Celebrities are people managers. They're there to help torture people. That's what a manager does. Helps to torture men. Okay. Okay, so yeah, seeing those 3 police after getting those 3 sword cards, I'm like, whew. Nothing in the world is worth doing if you have to deal with the police. It's just like, ew. They put a pall on everything they touch. Oh look, more mushrooms growing. Nice. Mushroom families. So this is where I usually keep the stick. And for some reason I took it with me yesterday. It's like, maybe I shouldn't have. Yeah, I should leave it here. Take a piss. Sit in the sun for a bit. Oh, fuck. Ah, shit. We'll change the t-shirt a bit later. Oh. See, when I was young, my dad didn't think that someone had the right to complain if they weren't working, right? Which, in parlance, would mean doing something useful in life. So the witches of the world, they have to get away with certain tricks. One of them is to mesmerize you. They have to get all of your attention, right? Let's see, how could we possibly get people's attention? Because when they're scared, when they're captivated, they'll listen to anyone. If I'd stayed around today, I would have liked to see what those police were there for. Probably just homeless people on the beach, bringing a lot of stuff. What a beautiful day. Sorry if I seem a little zoned out, but I think it's a really beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. Yeah. I'm well, I feel well now. I feel well now. As I get those wine gums, man, you need it. Because, like, yesterday was the first day that I hadn't been in shock all day for a long time. Today's day 2, so it's like everybody gets at least 2 days of vacation now and then, don't they? And then I saw, Jerry is good. I sort of, like, I get over talking to him. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, let's get it over. He's a really interesting dude, but I respect him, but he talks a lot, That being said, he doesn't talk to a lot of people, so I found out he's writing a book. He's working on his novel. It's like, nice. And he's really good. You see, I tell people, I said, Jerry, share it to me. I have a very generous critic. I've never heard anything I didn't like. And sure enough, it's the best book in the world. I mean, it's the best book in the world. I know it is. This guy is writing the great Canadian novel. He is, and needs to keep finishing it. I'm going to encourage him to finish that. He can put it as an EPUB. He can put it as a electronic EPUB, and get it all right. And then he could sell that for $20 a copy, and make a few $100s a year, maybe at first or something, or a few $100s a month. Who knows? It's a really good book, But what you need is a publisher, someone to advertise it and push it around things and places. But it's still the best way to go, I think. Unless you know somebody who's self-published who's done really well, because a really good book, or even a really good book, the thing is, what's so ingenious about it is that if I wrote this book, which I couldn't do, by the way, but if I did, I'm not saying I could, because I couldn't, I'm saying I couldn't. It's really, really, every writer's different, but it's really good. I could not write this. This is a very, very good book. This book would actually go right along with my philosophy. It's amazing. It's probably more for boys than girls, I don't know, but intellectuals for sure. And boys tend to be more intellectual than girls. You ever met an intellectual woman? You go on dating sites and they'll call themselves sapiophiles. Oh, and they never have anything interesting to say. They've just figured out that men seem to be intellectual. I've had women say to me, oh, men are so intellectual, or men are so in their heads. And it's like, really? Well, I'll tell you one place I'm not going to be is inside you. I don't know if I really need sex. Like, that interaction with that young little girl, that's not sex. It's just pleasant, courteous interaction with a female. Really bad at a certain time when I'm hooked. Sorry. It's nice though. Got some sun coming in, and my mom's well and the dog's well, and I want to see stability in my life. I want to see stability. I want to see health and stability. Yes, part of that is economic. I think practically, I'm a practical person, and you absolutely need economic support. But there's the thing, it's like, does economics really support people? No. Is it supposed to? No. Are people supposed to think that it does? Maybe. Does the economic system support people? We could argue that. Like you could argue anything, I say, really, but I don't always say that. But that's a beautiful birdie. Hello, beautiful birdie. Is it a robin? I haven't seen a robin for a while. You are a robin. Hey, robin. Hey. Woo. Oh, yeah. I didn't get the full relaxation when I went home last night. I came home too late. The bath wasn't hot enough. Should have ran that bad boy a lot hotter than I did. Even 3 seconds of cold water made a difference. And it was running. The first bath drained a little bit, and I didn't like that. And then it didn't get the same volume, even though it was hot. And I was like, oh, shit. It's okay for a second immersion. The first one should be the right volume as well as the right heat. But then it was a good excuse to take a hot shower. And I got Two of Pentacles on the bottom, Queen of Swords at the top, which to me, on balance means that, your authority in your mind is growing. Jack of Swords, King of Swords, Queen of Swords. That means the King of Swords is being informed by female voices. If I can come down as a man and say, this is a man's law talking, I should also be able to respect woman's law, because I am a man born from a woman. I am of a woman's flesh and blood. Period. And in fact, everyone born is of a man's flesh and blood and a woman's flesh and blood. It doesn't mean you're a transvestite. You don't have to become a woman, right? You're not two sexes. But one day I did feel like, in some sense, I do have two spirits. Really the same spirit, because the sun has two spirits, like the spirit of the ultimate female and the spirit of the ultimate man, but they don't live together in the sun. They live together in everything. And the sun is like the energy of the earth, like it's the energy of man. It's the energy of the mother, it's the energy of the father. It's the energy of the earth, and it's the female energy of the earth, and it's the male energy of the earth, working together to nourish the earth. It's like your mother and father working together to nourish you. I don't think people think of it that way because we haven't had appropriate mothers and fathers. So nobody really sees anything in the universe as appropriate, or as it would be if things were appropriate, like the mother and father nursing. Like that young girl, I've had some menacing things happen to me in my life, even just in the last few months. Ugh, I can't believe my mom lives with it as well as she does, except maybe the same reason that Jerry can talk to homeless people, because he's a bit desensitized. I can feel things that they can't sometimes. I know that this homeless man he's talking to is sort of communing with bad energy. I'm just going to get some protein. I've had a little tub of wine gums, which are just sugar and natural flavors, whatever. So it's like, on a little solid, full spectrum protein, warm in the morning. And now's a good time to get going. I want to keep this alive. Let's see. There we go. It's like, I'd like to go camping. Like, I bet you a native girl really likes going outside. You know? I like to go camping with her. You know? Get over the horn dog part and just be like, that's what she wants to go camping. You know? You can get a permission slip from the mountain. You just ask her, like, you know, why shouldn't I be able to spend time with someone that I find, whose company I find enjoyable? People say, oh, they're too young. It's like, their company, I think sometimes people think that older men aren't allowed to have fun. Like, the company of a young girl is vastly, vastly superior to the company of an older woman, right? I mean, eminently so. For many reasons, not the least bit that she's more beautiful, she's healthier, right? She's more enjoyable to talk to. I don't know what I did with my wand. Okay, I need that one. Ugh. Okay, well, we'll figure it out. Oh, fuck! Here it is. Oh, I can bring that when I come home. Yeah, I mean, okay. Oh, shit. Like French fries kind of need ketchup, and I have some French fries at home, frozen French fries, and I had them last night, and I put some salt on them, and baked them for like whatever, half an hour, and they were a little disappointing because they didn't have any ketchup, and I kind of didn't want to put any ketchup, you know what I mean? Like, because I think that's unhealthy in my mind, because it's got so much sugar in it. And then like today, I had like a whole bowl of wine gums, so basically my second breakfast. But I just think some days I should just fuck around and get something. And that's my sort of safe cheating thing. All that sugar and whatever. It tastes amazing. It's like crack in your mouth. And, who knows, maybe sugar's good for you. I don't think so. And, ketchup. Often I would not eat it because of the sugar. It doesn't really matter and it tastes good. I do eat it. I'm going to buy it. And anyway, I'm going to the checkout today, and there's a bottle of ketchup sitting among the chocolate bars. I'm like, okay, should I get this? I'm like, no, because I'll have to put it in my bag. So I don't want to carry ketchup around all day. I don't know, just not my thing. But I'd love to go hiking with this native woman, or go camping with her. It'd be great. Just discover the native world through her eyes, her breasts. Her senses. Like, I came into the gas store and there was a card with a joke card of women wearing these fake breasts. I'm like, why joke about your breasts? They look ugly, by the way. Like, this woman's breasts are not ugly. I'll tell you that. They're not ugly. I would look at them for days, like caught in headlights. But she just really is a beautiful person. Some guy's going to be really lucky to have her. But he won't be as good as me. And then if I was friends with her, and then I'd have to watch some strong native alpha male be like, hey, you enjoyed keeping my girlfriend company? Hey, thanks, dude. Here's $50. Have a good time. Go get some porn. And I'd get possessive, I don't think he's good for you, Barbara. I really don't. I know we're friends and everything, but I've masturbated to you 1,000 times. I think that should mean something. And, but she is very nice. I do like her as a person. I don't know her name. I don't want to be too personal with her. But, she's very nice. She's a very nice, sleek body. I hope she's getting enough exercise. And stay in that fucking gas station every day. She should get out of there. The downside of the wine gums is you can feel like you have a tiny little brick in your stomach for about an hour. I've had some protein. That is the biggest medicine there is out here, protein. But I got my time over with Jerry, and like fate had destined it, it would be a few hours of getting cold and listening to him, maybe another homeless man, and I'm done. But watching this homeless dude pretend to be a normal person, it was freaky. And I meet counselors who act like this homeless person, because who do you consult with as a counselor to find out how you should treat your patient? Who have you consulted with to find out how to treat your clients? Just whom have you consulted with? Did you figure it out by yourself? Are you figuring it out still? You know? Do you sit there twiddling your hair, promising them, that if they talk to you, move their eyes in a circle, everything will be all right? Which is what some counselors do. Some psychologists do that, by the way. And just crap. And you see what these so-called profession lends itself to? How can you even call it? If you have to call it a profession, then all professions are crap. Obviously, no one has a profession. I consider an architect a profession. I consider an engineer a profession. I consider a doctor a profession. I consider a fireman a profession. Hell, even a police officer has a profession. We just want to pay them to stay away from people. I would pay every police officer in the Oceanside area $1,000 a month to leave homeless people alone and just let them be. That's to not respond to every call when some white person says, this homeless person threw a beer can at me, which is almost never the case. Okay? People can just be rude and cruel. We're coming to crap station number 3. I think I'll get a good crap out this morning. If I could get one more good crap, I'd be really happy. The good crap is worth its weight in gold in my way of life. It's funny, until I'm out here, I just don't feel right. Yesterday and today is a good example. I loved coming home. I saw the deer, the young deer, the little horns, the doe, butting heads, like me and this native girl, over whom the hawk presides. You are a hawk. You will fly with her, with wings outstretched, in grandfather, son, and mother Twila. I don't know what that means, but it sounds good. Oh, yeah, I do have to grab Mother Twila. And I'll be like, you'll listen to our dialogue, and she'll be like, I love you, Landon. You are so swear and feed. You are so fair and sweet. And I'll say, yes. And also, lady, my lady love, I have to take a massive shit right now. Do you know what that feels like? Oh, tell me everything. I want to feel everything you feel from this day forward. Accept nothing. Omit nothing. Do not censor yourself. Well, it's a little bit painful, really. I often think, what if I just went in my pants and paid someone to take care of it for me? I could just close my eyes and they would just rip off my pants, hang me from the ceiling, start rinsing me down, dry me, put on new pants, new underwear, new shoes, new socks, and go on my way. I mean, wouldn't that be easier? Yes, master, it would. I'll get on that right away. But until that time, here's some beautiful dry maple leaves, and you could maybe wipe yourself after. Yes, master. Wipe yourself. What a strange thing, like, to have to wipe yourself. Woman comes back to the table on a date and is like, so? She's like, what? Did you wipe yourself nice and clean? Excuse me? Did you get it nice and clean? I mean, if we have any sex sports tonight, I want to know that you've dealt adequately with your sticky little area. I don't mind sharing bodily fluids with you, but I draw the line at fecal matter. Oh, you're so gay. I'm not gay. In fact, what I just said should tell you the opposite. I'm absolutely pro everything except shit. I understand that. But, most people don't ask questions like that. They assume that everyone takes care of their little ta-ta all by themselves. I know, but I think I might have to examine you. It's not a sexual thing. It just will make me feel better. You're like, you're a woman. Exactly. Women need extra attention. They have extra needs sometimes. No, they really do. I mean, I could tell you story after story, crazy shit that women say to me. I'm gonna find out this young lady's name one day. Her name is Aspeska, or Bethany. I don't want to know her name. Her name won't be beautiful enough, and then everything will change. Her name will be Rebecca. And it's like, you're not a Rebecca. You're a Haida. You're a Haida, Heidi ho, with beautiful boobs. You should be called Boobalicious. I shall rename you, as the white man have renamed all of these territories, Mount Landon. And this should be Mount Landon also. I'm going to go up Mount Landon today. Do you have any objections? Just have to get my clothing on, which will be a really thin condom. Here we go. Oh look, view is perfect. If only that nipple wasn't in the way. You put that thing down. Oh my goodness. Can you put that thing down? And that is how a man talks to a lady. Well, I'm trying to be sexual. I think the spell is past though. She's just a nice girl, but she's a very beautiful girl. Why is a beautiful young girl working there anyway? You know? Does she know that she's the most beautiful woman in like thousands of miles? You know? This is the most beautiful woman I see. It kind of sneaks up on you because like she is physically beautiful, but there's something else. I mean, a lot of her people get really fat. So, because they eat too much sugar or whatnot, but her body seems to be resistant to that tendency. Excuse me, this is the crapping place. This is where homeless people like me go to take care of their number twos. The number 2 engine is leaving the station. For those of you who are a little low IQ, I'm going to hunker down at Pushing Brown Town. Feel free to meander around and get some potato chips, maybe some nuts, some almonds, and some chocolate fudge cake. Everything in Pushing Brown Town has a kind of theme to it. Chocolate mud cake, cow patty burgers, Pushing Brown Town is pretty much one of my favorite places to go. And it's strange because you can, almost every area has a Pushing Brown Town. I like to get some Skittles, but also some Reese's Pieces. Look, there's a vending machine. Oh, I hear a dog. No doubt. Well, not, I shouldn't say no doubt, but very likely smelling me. Oh, well, that's good. I love the smell of this. Yeah, I'd like to go camping with her. She could bring her brothers or something. It's fun. Hang out, talk. I wouldn't want to be with her 24 hours a day, but I bet you she would have some interesting things to say about life. The thing is, you need purpose. You don't need purpose. The purpose for most people who know me is that they've had some kind of stress in their family. I read that purpose into it, but you could call it a purpose, you could call it a factor. I'm trying to, I don't know if I've treated it with the respect it's due, but I think that is a purpose of everyone I've known since I was born, is to deal with the fact that there's been morbid or mortal transgressions against their flesh and blood. And we don't want to underestimate that. And so I've dealt with a lot of my own shock. I should be I feel a little anxious. Better to start the day anxious, I guess. 24th today. The night of the 27th will be my mom's last night. So I have 3 more nights and 3 more dawns in that house. I'm going to enjoy every... Just like when my mom first left, I have a brief period of peace. A break. My mom makes things harder for herself on certain things. And I think she's okay. And then I just picked up some foul energy. That was a nice grab. It made the number 7. But yeah, that's an extraordinary reading. It's like the owl medicine I had yesterday. It's like owl medicine, and then today, opossum and dog. So it's like... But there's something quite desirable. I'm really stupid not to think about it. Spending time with a woman like that for a little while. It's something to want. It shows you have good taste. She's a nice, healthy person. It's very hard though, you think about it. The real true autumn gold of love, and even sex love, is longevity. If you want to live a long time, don't give your sex to someone for whom it's not even possible to keep love alive for as long as you both shall live. People declare something like that when they get married, right? To love you till death do us part. You got to keep love alive, right? Royalty stay married for life. They're very, very loyal to each other, right? You don't know that because you don't see that. But they stay very loyal. The whole idea of a king and a queen, prince and princess, is that they love each other forever, like the aspects of the sun. So the science of living as much as it involves loving, would involve keeping your love alive. You know, it's worth keeping it alive, isn't it? Right? And how can you do that if your parents didn't love you enough? How do you do that in a world that tells you, right, royalty, their actors, movies tell you that love is something that's easy to throw away, right? And that the funnest part is just working to get it in your life, and then like you're set, you know? There's no movie about keeping love alive. Just heard the sound of cows, and I saw a picture of a cow. That crap I just had was a burger from yesterday. Beautiful. Oh, you know, a good way to feel good, of course, is to not be around people who make you feel bad. And certainly not share your time with people. I mean, yesterday I shared a year or two of my time with people who don't really deserve the time that I gave them. That's okay, that was my choice. And you can be... And both of people talking have huge father issues. You know, so they were kind of like antipodes of each other. Yeah, it wasn't that. It was a good day yesterday. It was not to feel good today, except that, you know, residual shock. I got up today. I didn't really feel the need to make a lot of videos. Today's goal is to have a nice, good walk, get some sun like yesterday, come home in a good hour, have a healthy day, get to bed at a good time, get dinner, and get to bed. Yeah, I find, you know, I like to have something pleasant to think about, and really pleasant. A red-blooded man, like, she's a very beautiful native girl. I wonder how old she is, you know. It's misleading, you know. She could be 28 for all I know. She could be 19. It's hard to tell. Her breasts are clearly fully developed. But I do find myself looking at her in a way. She's not harsh like the last woman I got a crush on. She's not rigid. You know? She doesn't have that rigidity that white girls have. They can have a very sharp tongue. You know? I wonder if she'd be good with children. Or with breasts like that. You know? She could feed them, no problem. Imagine feeding your children beautiful native women breasts. And your children would be half native. They'd be half native, man. They'd be like, whoa. But they'd have a white father, you know, who understands the world a bit through the eyes of the white man. Right? But you wouldn't want to teach them to hate white people because it's part of who they are. You know, but you have to understand that white people have certain issues. You know, they get born into a beautiful heavenly world where their traditions really aren't the same as native traditions. That's one. They don't take care of their parents. Their parents don't take care of them. They don't keep love alive. And we all need to work on that. You know, because if you're going to be with someone, it has to be long-term. You can't be having sex, putting your dick in someone's pussy, and if 18 years later they hate your guts, and they take, you know, your house and your money and your children away, what good was, you know, the value of sticking your dick in their pussy? You might have thought it was the nicest time of your life. You're like, well, I'll have to find another girl and stick my dick in her pussy. And to get those feelings back, those feelings of happiness, that feeling of pleasure and warmth and home. And you see, so you have to be very careful about putting your dick in women. You have to ask yourself, you have to ask this woman, do you think that we could keep love alive? Yes, it'd be very good to have sex with you. Very pleasurable. I'm sure it would be very exciting. It's almost harder and harder the more I think about it to keep my hands off of you. But we shouldn't until we know that we can keep love alive. It'll be easier to find the impediment now than to do it later. Because once we have sex, right, we're going to basically lose the ability to see certain things about each other that we should have seen beforehand. Things that you have to know about a person before you lay down with them like that. Otherwise, you're hooped. You're fucked, essentially. And only you know what they are. And only she knows what they are. So you have to trust somebody, and you have to trust yourself. That you know as much as you need to know about that person before you stick your dick in them. Before you play with their breasts. Before you kiss them. You know? You know, a young girl like that, all I'd have to do is fucking hug her. Or she could hug me. And there'd be some very beautiful energy between us. And if you were watching, you'd be like, whoa, is that okay? So, what was it? Jerry was saying, you know, like 150 years ago, women used to get married when they were 12. But these are things that men talk about when they're single virgins at the age of 50. You know, Jerry's been sexually assaulted by girls his whole life. So, of course, young girls are appealing. You know, middle-aged women aren't. They look so fucking warmed over. They look like something that's been microwaved too many times, you know? It's just, life is hard on them, you know? They have their 2 cats, their 3 dogs, you know? Well, then you get women who are in their 40s, they're snowboarding on Mount Whistler, you know? Keeping the dream alive. But they haven't broke the hymen on the imbalances between them and their father, right? Or the devotion to their fathers that has not had to go through the valley of the shadow of death, the death of the love of their father, the death of their father. That their father might have, if only accidentally, taken his love, taken his support, taken his respect away, and not really held you in the regard that you should have been. And this has induced a kind of shock that can follow you into your 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s. Attended by perhaps even other things that happen, you know, from siblings or other members of your family, your father's friends, uncles, aunties, other men. All patterns that were started by the father toward the daughter, you know. My 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s should be quite spry. You know, that's 40 years of a lot of sprightliness. And then start to level off in the 80s and 90s. And then have a beautiful sort of zen 25 years of living around with tall staffs and, you know, shitting in the woods. I don't know. But I would like to have a householding situation of some kind. I need to generate about $80,000 a year to do that. Nice and simple, nice and easy, and just to see what I can offer in terms of my occupation to other people. You know, that's one thing I don't like about this native girl, is that she's a bit of a distraction for me. I go in there and obviously I'm still thinking about her. I'm just like, beautiful. Like, she's wearing a mask, of course, but it's like you look down her cheek, her head, down her neck, and it's just like, oh my God, you know, you have a beautiful body. You know, it's like, you know, and you think, oh, what young girl wouldn't want to hear that from you? And it's just like, okay, so I guess I'll have to stop going there. But do enjoy her, but enjoy her company. None of that harshness. You know, Native people aren't harsh. You know. in that way that white people are. White people are so sharp. In that way that lets you know not just what they think, but what a lot of white people think. So you never really, if you're walking around and you're not friendly to white people, you always know the way white people think because you're an expert in it. It's a white people dominant world. You know how white people think. You know, you just do, right? Ask me any question, I can tell you how white people think. You know? What's the number one thing on the white people's mind? Money and real estate, right? Once they get their children out of the house, it's real estate. My mom, I was talking about Simone's young girl my mom knows. It's like, oh, she doesn't work there anymore. She's at Northern VIU. And she says, oh, she's got her own apartment. And, oh, that's good. And, you know, boom, boom, boom. Like, that's just it, you know. Moved out of her parents' house, got an apartment, and chose a school 150 miles away, north. To be a nurse. She didn't want to be a nurse 3 years ago. She wants to be a nurse now, though. Just grew up on her. After her mother, who she doesn't totally know, made her sick and almost die, along with her brother in different ways, because she's a domestic abuser. And I know that just by hearing the symptoms of the children. It's like domestic abuse, domestic abuse. Stacy is a control freak. Right? Stacy is a control freak. Her mother, Stacy, is a control freak. The husband's, you barely fucking even remember his name. He's such a soft, his name is Louis. He's the softest, pudgiest, nicest man you ever meet. But he's too soft, unfortunately. And so the mother has ruled the house. And it's created a yin imbalance. And the children have suffered disintegration. So essentially, the Black Madonna has won. Now the child who was taking marketing, which is really the most superficial thing you could take, you know, is now going into nursing. You know, after having a bout of some lung fluid rising that almost killed her. And then her mom nursed her back to health. I don't know how many times my mom has put me in hospital and then, you know, gotten me some pills and taken me to the doctor. You know, she doesn't know what she's doing, but women can make people physically ill. They do it all the time. Right? I know a fact that the local RCMP can very easily be evinced to stalk and target homeless people. I know this for the fact from the inside out. Okay? I can witness this, I can testify to this, I can confess to this. I know this for a fact. I would pay the RCMP Oceanside Detachment $1,000 a month, that's $12,000 a year, not to stalk homeless people, if I thought that would be possible. Thank you. Because they do. They'll stalk homeless people. Right? They're predators. The one time they've come up to me, though, they stop stalking right away. As soon as they see me walking, as soon as they see my stature, as soon as they see my physiological, my sort of skunk medicine, which tells people at a deep energetic level who you are, whether they want to fully admit that to themselves or not. And they're such cowards, they'll just back right off. Right? Right? They can't approach me the way they approach other people. Right? They're complete cowards. They're predators. If they think you look even remotely homeless, they will target you from the moment they hear about you. If they hear anything on the dispatch that sounds anything remotely like someone's on the homeless side of the end of it, they're the one they're going to go for every fucking time throughout my life. That you're the underdog or this, that, or you're male and you're white and you don't seem like you're earning as much income, they will fucking pounce on you. They don't see any other way. They've got the mind of the monad. They've got the Mooney mind, the matrimonial mind, right? Right? They marry women, but a lot of them aren't into women. They're not into vajayjays, you know? Not after what's happened to them. A lot of RCMP have themselves been sexually abused. And this is how they respond to it, by becoming RCMP, right? So I do a little talking, like when I see them and they come close near to my house, Not that they're doing that for my sake, but anytime I was like, yeah, I'll give some talk about the RCMP today. Because I've been analyzing them for years. They're predators. But like the black magic of women, it's very hard to nail them down. You can nail Jesus down easier than you can nail a woman down, right? For anything, right? And you know that if you're a man. Like, to get a woman to it, she's guilty, she's hysterical, she's ashamed, she can't talk about it, don't hurt her, she doesn't have time, you're stressing her out, I mean, she's crying. Women have 100 different ways to get out of confronting the impact of their own behavior and their own decisions, right? They're the best people to have in cults, the best people to promote in most organizations, right? Right? They will exert the most amount of useful industrial aggression and ambivalence to the well-being of others while taking the most amount of abuse, right? They're more suggestible, they work with groups better. In other words, they're better psychopaths, right? Psychopaths are extremely social people, right? The religion of mental health tells you the opposite. They're not 2%, they're 98% of the population, right? The 2% that are not as psychopathic as everyone else, right? That's the percent that I'm in, right? So we have enough to do every day, you know? It's like a white blood cell in a tumor where every cancer cell thinks it's a white blood cell, right? That's basically the world. White people are the tumor. They are the cancer on the earth. You know, everything they think about themselves is false. Like, they have no... I'm going to take it from a young white girl, a young native girl that we're talking on the bus. White people have no culture. They have no origins. They have no nothing. They have no real traditions, you know. They don't do anything for a reason. Real traditions have reasons, you know. There's like a practical reason why. Is there a practical reason why you kill a tree every Christmas? Is there a practical reason for that? Is there a practical reason why there's a star on top of it? Or an angel? Yeah. You know, because at the top of the mountain, at the top of the tree, there's just a bunch of stars that have no will of their own. You know, because that's all they are. Angels are probably stars, right? But stars aren't angels, you know? They're part of the celestial world around us. Principles of life turning and growing around and out of the earth and out of us and around us and through our own words and days and all the journal entries of our existence. Well, doing good. Yeah, I would have attended to the police situation today if I wasn't going out with my mom, but in the car, I guess that kept me away from it because it's like, it's not a good energy. You know they're coming down on a homeless person. Why did you want to bang on the door? Why did you think you did bang on the door? Is that what I told you? But I don't see. That man dislocated my shoulder and most of my ribs last night. Do you want to check a medical report? Go check the MS hospital. Do some investigation. Yeah? I've studied the police inside and out. And it doesn't matter what they think they are. They have the right to think whatever they are. They have a right to put on their stupid costumes and do their stupid things every day. And make their money. I mean, it's the world, right? The world does that for them. And they can do that. And they honor their part. They get their check. They can buy their cars and their cable packages, and their beer, whatnot. They can pay for the results of domestic abuse and the fact their children turn into prostitutes quite often because there's so much sexual problems in and among the police. Right? Just like any Catholic church, right? Think about it. They're all good. They're all beautiful ministers of the law. They're given a sort of immunity, right, in society. And they get to have very aggressive interactions with the public based on little to no provocation. They are ministers of the passive-aggressive energies of the Black Madonna. that needs her money. We've just assumed, right, that you owe the state a little more than you've already given it. And so on the pretext of a traffic stop, we can take more of it from you. It's called regressive taxation, right? Just the fact that police can give you a warning tells you that the ticket itself is bullshit. He can decide whether or not to charge money to you based on whatever law you've broken. It seems to me that they should be consistent. If you've really created some foulness in the universe, then you should pay for it, right? But no, I would pay them to stay away from people, because in my studies of the police, they will just go, they only see things one way. And they have a certain way of thinking adjusted for local regions as to basically how they adjudicate themselves for any situation. Whether they think they can get you for an infraction or not, they're just going to cuff, they're just going to ticket, they're going to aggress certain people more than others. And there's not really a law against that. You can't say, don't be weirdly passive-aggressive and creepy to anyone unless you absolutely have to, and we're gonna watch all of your cameras, you know. And there's not going to be a Me Too campaign for the police, right? I mean, how many people they touch and fondle, right? This one young police officer was touching this black woman's pussy, right? Like he didn't know. Sorry, ma'am, he's new here. He didn't really know. Like you've trained someone to have a gun, but you didn't train him not to touch a woman's pussy. Isn't that something? And what if she hadn't complained? You know, and he doesn't get charged for sexual assault, right? I had a female RCMP officer try to teach me what sexual assault wasn't, right? Well, investigating sexual harassment from a bus driver and never presuming to ask the bus driver why the hell she was behaving the way she was. It didn't even matter. Okay? What they do is the BC Transit have crazy drivers who end up doing crazy things, and a very small percentage of people will complain, and sometimes they'll be quite angry when they do, and then they'll send them to the RCMP to basically deflate them and get rid of the situation. That's basically what they do. And once you give people who behave the way these people do that kind of license, you got to think it's kind of a chicken and the egg. They have that, they use it for a reason, right? And it's not because they're such wonderful people. Hello. Hi. 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 How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing?
Hi.
Hey, hi. Wow, what a bear of a face you got. Oh. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I like the ones with intelligence and some playfulness.
If she didn't have a name, I would have named her Bear.
Oh, yeah, sweet. And she's a decent bear at that. Enjoy. I don't see many people out here.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, it's a nice day.
Come on, man.
The fall is a blessing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, love it. She said if he didn't have a name for his dog, would have named her Bear. It's like, what a good guy. See, that just changed your whole day. That is a nice, beautiful, peaceful man. That guy's not a police officer. I'll tell you that right now. That guy's never served in law enforcement. You know that without a doubt. I'd be like, you've never served in law enforcement? No. You know, he might have done security for an oil company. He could have done security. He could have done anything. But he's never been a prick. You know, there's a reason why police actually quit. They don't tell you how many people quit the police because they can't put up with it. They can't put up with the people they're working with because they're psychos, right? I mean, it's kind of one of those things, like, depending on the region, I'm sure there's areas, you know, you have this, that, and the other. You get a hodgepodge, maybe. And it may be that it's an industry like, like the criminal world. You know, maybe there are some nice criminals. Maybe like, hey, thanks for mugging me. You've been so nice. the idea of police officers, taking $150 from you for rolling through a stop sign, something I've seen bus drivers do hundreds of times a day, and police, and then tell you to have a better day as they take their corpulent 400-pound body back to their police car with all of its insignia, whatever the fuck all that means. You ever wondered why they have coats of arms and insignia? What kind of fucking world is that? What the fuck does that all mean? Is it just some austere tradition? The great tradition of people who wear costumes and fuck with people, I mean, if I had a fucking tradition, it would involve wearing a gun and a taser, presumably for their protection. Wouldn't you love it how they have so much protection, but you don't have any protection from them? You really don't. You don't. And if you're homeless, they can do whatever the fuck they want to. Kick you. I've seen them kick homeless people. They don't give a fuck. And I'll tell you this right now, that if I had to deal with homeless people, I probably wouldn't give a fuck either. They don't look like they give a fuck about themselves. They're not pleasant people to deal with quite often. They're not going to make my day feel any happier. They're going to suck the life out of me. Their stories all suck and are sad. They're tweaking out on some fucking drug. And they'll probably spit in your face given half a chance. So a lot of them. So why should you treat them nicely? Well, because it's your job. Kind of. At least people think it is. And you're getting paid good money, hopefully. And if you're not, then you should get paid more. You know what I mean? I'm a reasonable person. But what you shouldn't do is get physical and threatening with them. I would too. Right? You'd have to train me not to, wouldn't you? I mean, hey, get off that fucking sidewalk. Get out of that fucking doorway, you ugly pieces of shit. I'd be worse than most police officers. What the fuck are you thinking? Have some fucking decency, eh? Give me any lip and I'll put these cuffs on you and throw you in the car. Done. I've made the world a cleaner place. Because homeless people are dirty. And people don't want them around, you might say, right? They smell bad. They might not have bathed in weeks or months. They may bathe once a month, right? And that's gross. You don't touch most people you see, but the thought of having to touch them is gross, right? What do? Wait until the wee hours of the night and maybe masturbate and cry and go back to sleep. They don't have any food when they wake up. Maybe they scrounge through the odd garbage bin when no one's looking and eat some sort of discarded sandwich, or maybe, Eureka, a discarded couple of pots of peanut butter with some 2-day-old bread from the back of the bakery. And that's your lunch, dinner, breakfast, and everything else for the next day or two. Right? Yum. That'll keep you going. Peanut butter. And so, just to have not enough food every day. No means to spread out what little money you have to just get enough calories every day. Like Jerry does, who lives in his car, lives on a small amount of money, and he spreads his money out. He's had some digestive issues, so he doesn't eat a lot, but he'll get a couple boiled eggs, Now and then he'll get a sausage roll, and he can kind of live on that, and a cup of coffee, whatnot. He just wants to talk, usually. As for people let dogs smell them, but when you also smell a dog, they'll calm down if you let yourself smell them. But it's because I smell so well that some dogs will bark at me because they know that I can smell everything, in a sense. Not that I'm conscious of it, but you can too in a way. But if you are more in tune with your subconscious, you at least potentially can see more, because yes, you might be very vulnerable and sensitized to things, but you can also see and feel a lot. So when I meet a healthy person like that, man, it just feels like being around the sun. It's it doesn't mean they're perfect. There's nothing I need to know. Nothing about him is dangerous to me. It's lovely. It doesn't make me want to hug him. I just it's exactly the way the world should be. I can have my problems. He could have his problems, but we're not going to hurt each other. We could live next to each other for 500 years and we'll never yell or spit or think an evil thought. He might leave his garbage out one day. Crows will get into it and spread it over my lawn and say, don't worry about it, man. They'd be like, oh, thanks. You know, and he'd give me maybe a bunch of his wife's cookies one day. I said, yeah, thanks. You know? And I'd let him, have seconds of various skanks that I bang. Not really, but you get the idea. Just a nice person. You live near, have a nice neighbor, and you just it doesn't matter what issues you have, you can actually coexist in the world. Wouldn't it be nice if everyone could be that way? So tired. I haven't been sleeping very well. It's older men, older women. That's it. Spirits of a place come around us. Yeah, so I feel like a little niggle anxiety seeing the police. I'm just like, oof. And see, that one homeless guy was really demented. And combined with Jerry and the cold, that was just like a demented experience. I've never been with Jerry where homeless people just came up to him or us. And just like, whoa, I don't really have homeless people coming up to me. But they must see me around. They usually can tell people around, so I didn't really want to interact with them too much. I don't want them to know me. Oh look, dolphin energy. say that I get a little bit of a shocked feeling from just seeing the police around. I feel a tone of shock to it. I think I get a sense of the shock that they induce in other people who are probably already in shock. And to have any dealings with the police, if you're not their buddy, if you're not like some sufficiently middle class piece of shit, is shocking. To be opened up to the distribution of the various vile illnesses which they contain in their blood and in their families, and the amount of rape and incest and murder and schizophrenia and bootlicking fucking homicidal mania that goes back through their families and through essentially the tradition of the RCMP, which traditionally basically was hired murderers by the crown. Mercenary murderers, robbers, thieves. Basically like legitimate pirates. And to this day, every time they pull you over, they're basically like pirates. And they work with BC Transit because they're another local authority that often deals with homeless people. And they also have their prerogatives, and they set people to naught who do not accept, you know, the abusive behavior which they distribute and the sicknesses which they distribute to their clientele. And since they're a little choosy about just whom they distribute various things to passively, it all just kind of works like a kind of ecosystem, so that when you get on a bus, they might be able to feed on your flesh and blood a little bit in a chilling, just blood chilling sort of way. Had some nice organic blackberry lavender kombucha. Didn't upload the videos yesterday, but it's a nice place to be. This is where the river comes down about 10 feet, takes a 100-degree turn. Wow. So this is actually one of the narrowest channels that I see this river going through, so kind of interesting. It's also the fastest that you see the water moving. They might have other deep places along the river, but it's not moving as quickly, so something about the speed and the depth and the width are related. So if you were a mathematician, you'd be like, the speed of the river, the greatest depth along a single span, and the width of that span have some correlation with each other. Yeah, I think seeing that homeless guy last night who was just creepy as fuck. Ah. Ba dee 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 dee. Ba dee 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 dee. Ba dee dee. And so, for instance, on BC Transit, I received passive aggression, which, by the way, is the height of aggression. And again, like the span and the width and the speed of this river, the opportunity, the social leverage or authority, and the short frame of time in which they're interacting with you, combined with the gray area of the whatever they say to you. Like I had a bus driver 2 days in a row pick me up in broad daylight and think of 2 different reasons why he claimed he had trouble seeing me, which were both nonsense, right? From a telephone pole being there and saying I was behind the telephone pole, which I basically just got up off the seat and walked to the side of the road, so I passed by it momentarily. You know, what do you mean I was behind the telephone pole? You could obviously see me. Right? Sometimes people are going to look like they're behind telephone poles. That's kind of your job, isn't it? It's not really true. And you could put up an argument and they could be like, well, I don't want to argue with you. You know, so when you say something to someone that in and of itself, and by the way, the next day at the same stop, the same time, the same bus driver said he couldn't see me because my jacket was black in broad daylight. And so you get the idea of what's going on, but few other people except for maybe the passengers, a lot of whom are younger people, who can feel what's happening. But we find it hard to say exactly what's happening. They just know that this man got on the bus and the driver's being weird to him. That's all. They know that something's wrong, especially since I know that something's wrong. Right? And if this happens to you enough times, it happened to me with 2 different drivers at the same spot within a 2-week period after I'd complained about the first one and that I'd said I was actually concerned it was going to happen again. And it did. Right? So they were really on the spot now. And I basically let them have it for 6 months. I kept up an unrelenting letter writing campaign talking about it. And everything they did and everything they didn't do was going to add to my complaint. Everything. Basically nothing they did or nothing they didn't do was right. At some point I got police calling my house for 1 week here. You know what? And they never had anything to say. They were just trying to take my time to get me away from them. Like dogs. Right? They don't do anything. The police don't do anything real. They just get used as patsies by other people who have a prerogative to do so. You know. And then I talked to this one female police officer, and it's like she doesn't really want to talk to me. She doesn't want to earn her money. She doesn't want to do her job. It's like, am I boring you? Are you not getting paid enough? Okay. Nobody knows what a policeman is supposed to do. Nobody knows. They're in every community of the world and nobody knows what the fuck their job is. All you have is some sputum that you've been given to understand or to believe since you were a child. That they're the good guys. Right? Nobody fucking knows what they do. Nobody. Ask anyone to write a paragraph of what a police officer does in a day. And they might just say, the police officer, like, well, I just do paperwork and I gave some tickets today and I went to a domestic abuse call and I caught up with someone about this. They've just got their phone calls and their paperwork and, you know, and it just, the life slowly goes by. I've met retired police officers and they are absolutely deathly ill. They're either completely numb inside. I met a sergeant who's just like a numb human being. You could see that. Another guy, just jolly guy, he'd been a mailman and a policeman. He loved his federal jobs. Right? And some people just love working for the government. And he was like 350 pounds. You wonder, like, did you ever chase anybody? Did you ever chase anybody? You know, it's almost nice if they're fat. You know, they can't chase after you anymore. You know, you just have to walk at a normal pace and you can evade the police. They're like, come here, while they're eating like bits of chicken and Cheetos. old people that were walking by, and this old woman sitting up there, and she's perched on a chair where she can basically look down and stare at me wherever she wants from 250, 350 feet away. So I look up there now, and then I see these of course, wearing sunglasses. And then I've got two white people at my 3 o'clock, just hanging out by the river, but they're not nice people, unfortunately. And I can't wait till they leave.